Hello, hi everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to have all of you here and to introduce you and to share with you some really phenomenal reading and erotica tonight. We would love it if you would be on camera just so we can see your amazing reactions, but no pressure if you're somewhere where you don't want to be, totally understand. If you need to go on and off camera, please do. Take care of yourself in whatever ways you need to. Um, I'm going to pass the mic, so to speak, over shortly to our host. But meanwhile, I'll let you know I'm Sinclair Sexsmith. It's very nice to meet you. I've been facilitating this writing group, Writing Spicy, for the last 6 weeks, and all of the writers tonight are amazing participants in that group and have been just phenomenal and so fun to co-write with. And I keep learning so much in all of these groups. I'm always so inspired. So I hope you will also be inspired. I hope you will find some dirty writing that you like, and I hope you will take away some inspiration for some of the darker parts of the year and rainier or cozier parts of the year. Uh, I'm not hosting tonight, which I'm so excited about. So I'm going to turn it over to Titus Androgynous. If you all don't know Titus, you are in for a treat. Titus is a writer from Toronto, Canada. They have a piece published in the Best Lesbian Erotica of the Year, Volume 6, and another couple pieces in erotica anthologies set for publication in 23 and 24. They are a multidisciplinary performer who works in many genres, including burlesque, improv, red-nosed clown, and Shakespeare. They've been performing nationally and internationally as a drag king since 2013, and you can follow them on Instagram at titus.androgynous, but also on Instagram for transmasc thirst traps and tips on what to wear to stay cozy in the weather. You can follow instagram.com/weather.daddy, and I'll put those links in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
I am so excited. I love this room so much. I took Sinclair's class last fall before, and and got a story out of that I'm so proud of. And the support in the room, Sinclair support, it's amazing. And it's having the impetus to write because you have a class, because other people are doing it and you love sharing. It's such a beautiful and supportive place to be. And so I'm so happy that I get to host tonight for folks who are reading their stuff after doing class. So it's so exciting to see and hear all the new things that people are thinking about. The other thing I'll mention is that this is uh, the event is being put on in support or supported by Theo Reads, which is a new place online that will be dropping soon, where there is some really excellent, I should say, spicy writing from mild to extra hot. Oh my God, I need to drink all the entire ocean um, because that was so hot, and then go back for more because, of course, right? That's what we do. We forget what it feels like and just keep going back for that spice. Um, and founder is here tonight. Parneet, you can give a little wave. Um, Also an amazing community that is building there. I'm very proud to be one of the founding authors on that, and as is Sinclair. And can't wait for that to drop. I know it's coming soon, and all the puns intended with that coming soon and over and over. Because there is just some amazing content on there, and for every spice level. And speaking of spice, we should dive right into this amazing uh, queer kink positive online sexy evening that we're having. What a way to end the weekend, right? Nice and warm. Speaking of weather daddy, it is like fully wool sweater weather up here in Toronto. It hasn't snowed a great deal right where I live, which is right by the lake, but man, there's been some snow up here in Canada sweeping across the country. So and absolutely across Northern United States, and I don't know where everybody is from. I guess we can find that out. But we're going to dive right in, make sure that everybody is hot tonight with our first reader, Yves Dot. I have to, Yves, I have to bring up your bio. How about Sinclair? Why don't you say a little something? I just realized I didn't bring up that particular doc.
Well, I can put
Or
it in the
why
chat
don't you
and
read
then,
Eve's? Why don't you read Eve's doc? Do you have it? And
yeah,
then
yeah, I have it.
I'll be ready
I,
for the other ones.
I have it and
You're
I
next,
can
Sean.
put it
I'll be
right in the
here.
chat too. So here's that. Yves Darling is the erotica pen name of Yves Dot, undead author of much queer and Jewish speculative fiction. As Yves Dot, they are the author of the short story collection Something's Not Right, and much free short fiction available on their website, including erotic novelettes called Long Line and Band Girls. So you can visit their haunt at yves.books.com to find all sorts of information at yvesdotbooks.com.
All right, Eve's.
Hello,
Yes.
thank you. I figured, I mean, we all know why we're here. So I had a much longer piece that I wrote in the Writing Spicy course, 5G. So I've cut us to just a couple thousand words of, first time pegging because why not? Why not,
Mm,
start off with a bang, so to speak. So this is from around the middle of the piece.
great. Hey, give us that, and then I'll ask you a couple questions afterwards.
Oh,
And
excellent.
all of you at home, like stick all your spicy comments in the chat because we love to hear it. It's great feedback for the writers, and it's also nice to know that you're in a room of other people appreciating all the kinky queer spice. So heat that chat up and take it away, Eves.
Thank you. All right, here we go. Don't be afraid. She clicks open a bottle and pours the clear liquid inside over her hand. He is relieved to feel her teasing him with one finger first, circling his hole and murmuring sweetly, "I'll be gentle." He takes a deep breath. Her free hand comes up to steady him, resting against his spine. The way she strokes him, he feels like a kitten. Her whispered reassurance settles his breathing. Around and around goes her finger, and he is just steadying himself when she gets to her knees, kisses the cleft of his ass very gently, and pushes in. He moans so loudly it must be audible outside. She whispers, "Shh," asks him if he's all right. "Yes," he manages. Her finger slips part of the way out, then all the way back in. With her pretty nails, she is exceptionally cautious. "Yes, yes, I'm fine." "Good boy." She fucks him carefully, slowly. "I bet you can take more, can't you?" He doesn't know what to say. Yes, no, yes, but not so soon. He fumbles and clutches at the sheets. He can feel his cock pressed wet against his stomach. Undoubtedly, he is ruining her bed. He wants to tell her if she would let him touch himself, she could put the whole strap in right now. But then again, he wants to win by her rules. He wants to hear the praise in her voice. He is so lost he does not realize how long she's been working at him with one finger.
Oh, so
"How are you feeling?" she asks, her voice warm. He realizes she stood up, is hovering over him, balanced against the bed. One of her golden thighs rests right beside his, radiating heat. If he shivered, he might touch her skin. "I'm all right. Thank you," he gasps again. If she would not make him speak, he thinks, he could do quite a job of pretending to be holding up. She ruffles his hair, and he moans into her sheets. "Do you like having your hair pulled?" she asks, conversationally. He croaks out that honestly, he doesn't know, and she gives it the softest of tugs. "Yes," he groans. "Yes, oh my God, yes." "Shh, good boy." She sweeps his hair into a ponytail and holds her fist to the back of his neck so he can feel the resistance. "Ready for another one?" He nods, and she removes her hand from his hair to tap his cheek with two fingers. "I want to hear you." "Yes, please, ma'am." "Good boy." Her left hand in his hair again, nails tracing a path from his scalp to his neck. The weight of her shifts the sheets just slightly, the way she leans against the mattress. She must have very good upper body strength, he thinks. He would like to spot her. Then everything is driven from his mind as she slips another finger in. He's adrift with her on cool blue waters, glory on his skin, pleasant burn of her fingers in him better than 100 laps. He likes the way she braces her hand on him with her thumb, cool against his skin. He wishes he could see her, the breasts, the lace, the black butterfly appliques at her hips, the brief glimpses of skin between lingerie and harness, and her cock that she slowly, slowly eases into him. He whimpers, and she strokes both hands down his back before landing on his ass, where she holds him in place as she fucks him. You don't have to be so gentle, he rasps, and she chuckles, one hand roving over his back and down his side. It's just that you moan so loud when I fuck you, she teases, and he groans into the sheets, curses, but it is too muffled to hear. Still she obliges, and he grows louder, gripping the mattress through the sheets. He doesn't know if there's a rule about this. It's a concern to her whether he gets them both kicked out. Surely no one would care, but if they put two and two together, realized it wasn't the pretty girl moaning like this. He jams his arm under his mouth, and she pulls it away. Let them hear you, she says. Don't you know? Half of them want to be you. Or me. He thinks of the wolf whistle in the hallway and gasps. That's all I have of 5G tonight. But it's coming out soon, hopefully, on Theo, so you'll be able to read the whole thing.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, all the snaps in the videos. Lots of people very much wanting to hear this loud moaning and read about these ripping sheets. Bad, bad, ripping those sheets. How terrible. Um, ugh, loved it. So, Yves, tell me about your writing. Have you written before? Is this the first that you've been writing with Sinclair? What's your story, so to
I've
speak?
written erotica before, but usually, not to be like usually in private, that sounds, I guess, very weird. But I've written a lot of things, that are just kind of buried in my Google Drive. It's hard to know where to send them out. It's hard to know where things are accepted, especially because they're very literary. There's a lot of like metaphor and like very colorful language, and I'm just obsessed with making a sentence that is too long for anyone's business. And so it kind of puts it in this weird place where I'm not sure if I should send it to more literary places or to more like explicitly like smut places, um, which is why I've been, sort of following Sinclair around the internet like a dog. Um,
I
I
mean,
was very honored to be led to writing spicy because I was like, now I can learn what's actually going on here in the spaces where all of the people who know what they're doing are hanging out.
isn't it amazing? I also felt that way. Like, oh, I get let into this club? This is a good club. I love this club. Um, and Theo Reed sounds like it might be an excellent place for your literary smut. Love a sentence that's too long. As long as I don't have to read it out loud. If I read it ahead and learn where to breathe, then that's good. That was awesome. Thank you. I can't wait
Thank you.
to read the whole thing. Be amazing. Next up, we have ShifuPlay. ShifuPlay is a creative and shibari enthusiast that desires nothing more than to express her undisclosed wishes, wants, and words with the world. Shifu is an IT professional and novice social media still graphic creator in her vanilla life, and a poet and neophyte erotic short story slash novella writer in her spare time. She desires to create and curate quality content that shows diversity by showcasing the beauty and sensuality of African American women and men in kink. Hot. If you wrote that bio, I'm so into whatever you're about to read. Um, that was excellent. Shifu, let's have your spicy words.
Hello. So mine is from class with Sinclair. This is a portion of it. It's about 4,000 words in total, but tonight I won't be reading that much. So you all are I don't have to sit through all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and start if that's okay with everybody. All right. The name of the story is called When He Calls. I've missed you, Cherry, he says, his voice quieting as he kissed me. I've missed your cries. I've missed your screams. I've missed your scent, the feel of your nails digging into my skin. I've missed how wet you get. I've missed your touch. I've missed how you make me feel. I've missed us. The words hit me harder than I expected, a rush of emotions flooding in that I hadn't anticipated. Before I knew it, I was undressed and bare before him like always. He lifted me up, my legs wrapped around his slutty waist. He dropped me on the plush king bed and I instinctively started inching back towards the headboard. He caught my ankle, chuckling as he inquired, "And where do you think you're going?" "You know I have to see if I can make a patty melt first." He dragged me to the foot of the bed and sunk his face between my legs. His mouth felt like hand-woven mulberry Chinese silk. I don't know what monk taught him this tongue finger technique, but I swore I smelled sound and saw music. "Give daddy a drink" was all I heard before he started lapping at my clit, coaxing orgasm after orgasm out of me. Before I could catch my breath, Anthony slipped that caramel dick into me. The way he moaned, you would have thought he just stepped into a boiling hot tub of water. Every expletive ever crafted proceeded from his glazed lips. Damn it, Patty feels just as good as she tastes. He leaned down and began kissing me, stroking me deep as I sucked my juices off his tongue. He pulled back with a sinister look in his eyes. "Enough of this. Playtime is over, Terry. You know what I want." I knew exactly what he was hinting at. "Behave, Anthony," I said, in that teasing tone that always brings out his primal side. He responded as he always does. "I am being behaved." The familiar words brought a wicked smile to my lips. "As you wish," I said, reclining on my back and letting my head dangle off the bed, opening my mouth very wide. He rimmed my lips with the tip of his dick before easing it over my tongue. I never reached superhead status on my knees, but in this position, my throat game was unmatched. I wrapped my arms around his thighs as he used my tonsils as target practice. He grunted through clenched teeth. "I love how you choose my dick over breathing every time I gagged or choke." "Death by deep throat is an honorable way to go, my love," he declared, pushing further and faster into my throat, chasing that first release. It didn't take long before he stilled, clenching my neck. I wasn't about to give him time to reset. I started sucking him like I was drinking the thickest milkshake and his dick was the straw. The growl that escaped his lips as his body trembled and bucked was a beautiful thing to behold. I quickly swallowed those warm streams that he gifted me and tickled his sensitive head with my tongue. "My goodness, some things never change," he said as he released a satisfyingly deep breath. He joined me on the bed, grappling and kissing and biting my body, all while pulling my hair. Anthony was never a one and done guy, and I don't know why I thought today would be any different. It wasn't long before he was harder than nuclear physics, demanding a round two. He rolled over to his back with me on top. "Assume the position, baby," he whispered with a wink. I slowly eased myself down on his pitch dick before rocking back and forth. Sex with Anthony was both whimsical and wild, soft and shattering, harmful and healing, and always memorable. The more he rolled his hips, the wetter I got, the bolder I got. I started bouncing on it like it was my favorite toy, watching him smile as he slid in and out of me. "You like that, huh?" Anthony inquired before he held my hips and started daggering my pussy. I pleaded for mercy, but he callously declared, "Pain is just weakness leaving the body." He continued, "You have the most gorgeous eyes. I love watching them roll back like a slot machine. Now give me what's mine." I felt my walls clenching around his stiffness. I cried out, "Tony, please stop." His response, jackpot, as I gushed on his lap. He flipped me over and pushed my head into the down comforter and took me from behind. "Patty's a big girl. She liked it rough, doesn't she?" he asked as his hand found his way across my ass. His long strokes were the best I'd ever felt. smooth, deep, filling, and oh, so satisfying. Fuck. Shit, 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 shit was all I heard before I felt him release on my back. Suddenly, the weight on the bed shifted and the heat of a hot towel glided across my skin. I watched him as he returned to the bathroom, wiping himself off. Girl, he said with a playful grin, you were this close to becoming a mother. I couldn't help but laugh, shaking my head at his teasing remark. You're impossible, I replied, my voice carrying a mix of amusement and disbelief. He paused at the doorway, turning back with a mischievous sparkle in his eyes. You love it, he shot back, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. I rolled over, propping myself up on one elbow. Maybe, I teased, letting the word linger. He arched an eyebrow. Just maybe? I'll have to fix that, he said, his tone half challenge, half invitation. Then with a wink, he disappeared into the bathroom, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the lingering heat of the moment. He climbed back into bed and grabbed the phone. Is this the Avery? Great. I'd like to order a medium rare T-bone steak with fries and a blackened salmon with steamed broccoli. Oh, and if you have any ice cream, please include that. Thank you. After hanging up, he pulled me close, wrapping me in his arms. Steak? Ice cream? I asked with a playful glint. Was I not dessert enough for you, or are you just feeling nostalgic? He kissed the top of my head and replied, You've completely worn me out, and I'm starving. Besides, a tradition is a tradition.
Okay, okay. I'm starving in all the ways. Like, I'm swallowing. Um, okay. All I want is like steak and salmon and some of what you just talked about. And that was so hot. Yeah. Everybody blew up and almost died as you were reading. And it's like if anyone's watching, Sinclair almost like that was almost the end. That was almost the end of Sinclair. I think Sinclair, you got revived by the steak as well, though. The steak, the ice cream. Like, thank you. This is the aftercare I want always. Please bring me a steak. Whew. Okay.
Steak for
So
aftercare. That's
seafood.
nice.
I'd love to chat with you now. I'm like so blushing. Um,
Sorry.
Tell me about your writing journey.
Um, this is a story that I have been trying to get out of my head for years and never had a chance to really put it on paper. So, once again, thank you, Professor Sinclair, for helping me get it onto paper. This is some fiction, some of my reality mixed into a story. So, once again, thank you. As for writing, I think this is my 15th short story or 16th short story that I've written. And that's about it.
Wow. Can you, because people listening in here might be curious, what sorts of things helped get that story out of you that you've been trying to get out? What were some of the like what was it, a couple top tips that
Um,
unlocked that for you?
so Sinclair in class, the very first week of class, we had a prompt, and the prompt was food or something like that. The funny thing about this memory is that we used to have food as aftercare, and
Hmm.
one of the foods was a Mississippi mud ice cream sandwich. And so the story starts off with Terry at an ice cream truck, and she sees this ice cream sandwich. And this is how this whole situation started. So Sinclair gave the prompt, which triggered a memory, which
Oh,
triggered the story.
that's perfect. That's amazing. I've also experienced that technique with Sinclair, and one of the lovely things about food, and I don't know if you want to comment on this, Sinclair. I think it's a really smart way, um, because because it's something we're allowed to think about. You know, if there's something that needs to be unlocked, it's taste, it's smell, it's heat, it's texture. We all have thoughts about it. We all have feelings about it. There's memories attached to it, and and then you can quickly realize how those experiences then can transfer to to any kind of sexual interplay, to some kind of intimacy. um So I love that that unlocked that for you. Do you have any thoughts, Sinclair, about why you use that?
Food's just so sensual, and I think everybody has had that experience of like eating the most perfect peach, or even if you don't like peaches, like eat whatever the most your equivalent of the most perfect peach is. And um, there's not a lot of things that we do with our mouths that are really sensual aside from sex and food. A lot of times, the other things we do, like I don't know, brushing our teeth, less sexy.
I don't know, dirty talk. I use my mouth,
Dirty talk.
so yeah,
Well,
yeah,
talking. There you go.
yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Shifu. 15 stories, huh? Okay. Food for thought. Sorry. I'm sorry. You asked me to do this, so I'm bringing full Titus here tonight. Next up, we have Vidaliko. Vidaliko would not have picked up the pen to write for a public audience without a nudge. No, not previous partners telling him that they had found Vidaliko's diary and had gotten off on reading his accounts of their intimacy. I mean, consent, but also that's hot. It took a dear friend telling Vidaliko that he could have a future in writing smut. Vidaliko has enjoyed learning from Sinclair Sexsmith and will likely take their writing spicy course at least once more to improve his writing for the hallowed halls of AO3. Yes. Um, Archive of our own for I think that's right? AO3? Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know. So, Vidaliko, let's hear some of your words that you've been coaxed into making public.
Yes, thank you. Like my predecessors, Yves Darling and ShifuPlay, I am reading a portion of a larger story. I'll get into that. Ginger Bear in his 30s seeks experience fisting top. Call me a good boy with your fist in me, and I'll come. Open relationship, husband might join in. The words of your post held me in thrall, dizzy with lust. My hunger intensified as I clicked through your profile. Cute pics, recently tested for STIs, uses condoms. Lady Aphrodite smiled upon me this evening. My fingers raced to message you. Once you confirmed reciprocal interest, we sat to negotiating the participants, timing, location, and acts of our tryst. I began slowly walking towards your hotel as you got ready. You sent me your room number and a summons while I was at the bar on the ground floor of your hotel. My heart was beating like a drum as I made my way to your door. You smiled and beckoned me in. Once you shut the door behind me, you introduced yourself as Ian. A second ginger bear stood up from the couch behind you and told me his name was Ryan. Omar, I responded in kind. Ryan stretched his arms above his head and yawned. Have fun, boys. He proceeded to flop back down on the couch, turning to face a television set. Your husband, I surmised. You signaled me to follow you further into your hotel room. I noticed two bath towels had been spread out at the foot of your bed on the left side, the long edges overlapping. The hotel room's office chair had been moved from the desk to the edge of the bed closest to the towels. I shucked my clothes and admired your body as you removed what little you had been wearing. You closed the gap between us. Our hands roamed each other's bodies as we made out until I broke the kiss. Can I blow you? I panted. You nodded, lying down on the right side of the bed. I followed you, kissing your thighs and the curve of your belly before taking your dick into my mouth. My movements were gentle and inquisitive initially, listening to which actions drew out the most delicious reactions. I pulled back at one point and spat into my hand. I used that slickness to jerk you off while I kissed, sucked, and tugged on your balls. You flipped over a bit after that. I dove in and got to work, licking, kissing, probing your pucker with my tongue, lightly scratching at your thighs and spanking your cheeks. We took a water break before moving on to fisting. I put a glove on my dominant hands and poured a generous portion of lubricant, carefully spreading my fingers and turning my hand to ensure my mitt was evenly coated before I tried to open you up in earnest. I started by tracing your opening with my thumb. I switched to my pointer finger for the initial penetration. You took one finger with ease. I added a second and began opening and closing my fingers like scissors. How are you doing? I asked. Good. You can add a third. I pulled out, wanting my fingers to sink into you as a single unit. I added more lube as you took a hit of poppers. Once you had the lid securely on the bottle, I replaced my hand deep inside you. We continued this measured dance of stretches, inhalations, and check ins until at last my thumb slipped in. My hand settled into a fist inside the cocoon of your body, practically independent of my conscious thought. You moaned as I held my hand completely still. I weakly croaked out a wow as I sat in that office chair, enraptured by what your body could do. You described the series of movements that brought you the most pleasure. I began slowly. With your encouragement, I slightly increased the speed at which my hand and forearm pistoned in and out of your guts. I became more vocal, effusive in my admiration of your flexibility and strength. Moaning, swearing, I made sure that I peppered in plenty of good boys, remembering your post that had led to our encounter. True to your advert, you choked and came the first time I used your preferred epithet. We went a few more rounds until you tapped out. I kissed your calf that had been leaning on my right shoulder and told you that I was going to withdraw. You asked if I wanted anything. I checked in with my body and consulted the clock on the bedside table before concluding, no thanks, I'm quite satisfied. You got off the bed and headed to the restroom. I disposed of my glove, shook out my hands, and drained my thermos before trading places with you. Once we were both cleansed of lube and other fluids, we returned to our previous places with two slight changes. You were sitting up, and you had hooked your legs over mine. We chatted softly in that gentle moment. It was a bit of a debrief of the experience we had shared. You and I exchanged praise, wonder, gossip, and information at that precipice. You at the foot of the bed, me sitting in the desk chair you had rolled over for my use. I think I had been the one to pop the bubble. It was almost midnight. I had work in the morning and needed to start toddling toward the train if I had any hope of getting home. One last kiss before you unhooked your legs from where they had settled over mine. You watched me dress, then offered a bottle of water as I hoisted my bag onto my shoulder. We waved and smiled as I walked from your bed to the door. I glanced at your husband as I passed the couch on which he now slept. One soft click of the door, and I was gone.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So you said this was a segment. Is this a middle segment of this piece? Is this where's this coming
It's
the whole story?
it's the whole story with pieces cut out. So
Oh, lovely. So and we got
yeah,
the abridged version.
yes, exactly. It was
Nice.
14 minutes when I first recorded, time myself reading it, and then I cut it down to 8. And then right before this, I edited it a bit more and cut it down to probably 7, hopefully.
That was masterful. You did. It was great. It was great. Um, so tell me why it took so much coaxing to get you to tell us these words and not just leave them private.
Yeah, I
You don't have to answer if that's too
yeah,
vulnerable.
I have long been kind of a private person, keeping things
Mm.
close to my chest,
Hmm.
and I don't know, didn't have a lot of confidence in my writing. Um, but yeah, I was talking with a friend, and he um, encouraged me to give it a try, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, you can tell that you really enjoyed it. It's really beautiful. The descriptions that you've used, it's so visceral. Um, I'm remembering uh, pistoning in your guts. I'm like, fuck yes. Like it's
Thanks,
gorgeous, really gorgeous. And like from softness right through to that, it was really beautiful. So thank you for sharing.
thank you.
I hope that the sharing it is as much fun for you as the writing it, and that you want to keep doing it because that was gorgeous.
Thanks.
And go back, read the comments. you'll know what people are reacting to. It's such a great little bit of a perk from these readings where it gets to be there in black and white or blue and white or whatever color people are writing in, and to see it, because sometimes just hearing it, it's not enough for it to actually sink in, but to actually like see these words written there, sometimes with emojis, lots of fires and wet and heart emojis. Um, yeah, it's such a nice thing to get to have as a writer, this real immediate feedback. So enjoy that, and please keep bringing us more.
Thanks, Titus, and thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Vidaliko. Oh, okay. Whew, breathe, 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 breathe. Um, because we just have more. We just have more. We have more. Hydrate, everyone. Remember, like that was such a good moment in there, reminding us to, drink before fisting or before continuing to read. Luna Le Cuir. And I'm going to say, when I saw this, Le Cuir means the leather, but also Le Cuir, clearly you can tell what it sounds like, that I did not track until I said it out loud, minutes before this thing started. So Luna Le Cuir has kept diaries all her life and has been actively involved with the leather community since 2004. In sixth grade, she won a district-wide poetry contest, and she held a boot black title in 2011. These prizes, your trophy room, I love it. And continues to shine leathers at conferences and leather bars. She explores all kinds of kinky debauchery, from mindfuckery to gentle nurturing, and her velvety voice has captivated all kinds of submissives and dominants. She lives in the Pacific Northwest, far too far from me. Okay, Luna, let's hear that velvety voice.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Luna. I just want to give a content warning before I begin that this piece has repressed bratting, cannabis consumption, power struggle, and maybe a tiny little bit of dubious consent. I'm relaxed on your leather sofa, laying back on my elbows. I light a joint for us to share. It was a productive afternoon. We captured so many images. Now the camera is packed away and our shoot is done for the day. The sun has long set. The chill of winter is kept at bay behind double-paned glass. In the corner of my eye, I see your leather patrol gloves slip onto your hands. I set down the lighter and take a long drag from the joint. I reach upward and put it to your lips. You inhale smoothly as you wriggle your fingers deeper into the glove. One drag from this joint is enough for now. I set aside the silver shell ashtray, my eyes following you around the room. You've removed your button down, now in your all-black shirt and jeans and cool demeanor. Without prompting, you reverently take up my foot in your hand to remove my shoe. The buckles gave me trouble earlier today, but not for you. Now in one sweeping motion, you free my feet and tickle my arches. I am overcome with laughter and tease you sweetly. My nylon-stockinged feet aflutter, trying to flee your grasp. I fail. You've caught me. You grunt with satisfaction and hold my ankles in your leather-gloved grip. I am no longer standing arms akimbo, painted, poised, and posed. No latex, no leather boots, and no chainmail. Not like earlier, I gaze up at you now in such a way my eyes have never seen. Strong and square and tall. You loom over me. Your frame is solid and your grip is formidable. Your gaze meets mine. At once, I am aflood with flames. I am melting down. I trust you'll hold on no matter how hot. My protestations and plea for freedom are a lie. I'll take whatever you can dish out. In your eyes, all artifice is singed away. Your grip tightens, your arms more rigid. I fight and try to kick, but you have me. I grow wetter with each squeeze of your fists. My inner brat wants so wildly to fight, but you peer down at me, tilting your head of auburn curls. How do you like that? How do you How do you do that? Sorry. Leave me wet with a head tilt. What a clever trick. The slyest smile forms on your mouth as I take you in. I want to liquefy your touch, but this little power struggle keeps me present, even in your burning hands. I wince. You place an ankle on each of your shoulders, but you don't let go. Your face shows me how much you enjoy this. I'm swallowed by your gaze. Struggle is bliss in the enchanted mirrors of your blue eyes. My hips buck, my body twists. You slowly shake your head. Your eyes narrow as if to ask, do you really want to fight back? I bite my lip. I do. A smile curls in the corners of your perfect mouth. Your finger touches my lips to hush me. You quip that you're teaching me a lesson in stillness. I settle myself and take your glove off your hand, returning your nimble shutter finger to my mouth. Licking and sucking and staring up at you. Your smile melts into a knowing sneer. I can sense your prey drive revving up. Your breathing deepens. The air in the room thickens. I am coaxing your inner bully to put me in my place. You pull out your index finger and drag your thumb. You pull out your index finger and drag your thumb along my lower lip. Sorry, folks. Pushing just enough to feel its fullness. Your hand now tilting up my chin, your eyes watching my mouth intently. I see your pupils dilate. You search my face. Oh, Lord, where'd I go? You search my face for a sign of permission. I grab your forearm in one hand and your fingers with the other, pulling your thumb into my mouth to suck. I nod without breaking my gaze, and now you penetrate me with your stare. I'm on fire for you. I'm smoldering in this blouse and skirt. I want you to undress me button by button, one by one. As small as they are, those buttons are no match for your dexterous fingers, strong enough to hold my wrist down. Dexterous hands, excuse me, strong enough to hold my wrist down, soft enough to never snag my silk or my nylon stockings, and I'm craving your hands all over me and inside me. I drag your fingertips across my lips and tongue. Please, I beg, take me to bed. Thank you.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. These hands. We want these hands. Hands and mouths and everywhere. Thank you so much for that. Whew. Okay. What what were you seeking when you took Sinclair's class?
What was I seeking?
Yeah. Like
Oh,
what kinds of yeah, what were you hoping to get from the class?
well, I really was looking, and my cat is, of course, being very
Yeah.
vocal. I was really looking for more creatives. I was looking for a space that could be nurturing for creativity.
Yeah.
Um, I really found that in spades with this group. Everyone is so supportive and lovely with each other. Um, and it's just like sort of an oasis somewhat in a period of my life that feels a little a little dry. But
Mm.
this has been an oasis and it's been very inspiring. Um yeah, I've just been yeah, I'm just blown away by the talent in this group. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. The group is so like Sinclair has created this space of openness, vulnerability, playfulness where um people feel supported in all of their choices of, of sexual play, of intimacy, and it really it crosses the communities that we see in real life often, right? Where because you don't necessarily know that you're going to be finding a creative person in a community that is different from your own, but it's that creativity that brings you together, that intentionality of being able to express the joys, the pleasures, that the soft parts, the hard parts.
yeah, sorry, my cat is just loud back there. Yeah, no, there's so much. I really wanted that. I've been writing for a really long time, and I keep a lot of stuff kind of like Vidaliko really close and don't really share it very often. So I should probably cut this short so I can let my cat outside, or she's gonna.
Okay. Thank you so much, Luna.
Thank you so much for this, for the forum, and for this time, and for hosting us. And thank you, Theo, for reads for
Yeah,
care of all of us.
exactly. Yes. Yes. Shout out again to Theo Reads. We've come to our feature writer. Tobi Hill-Meyer is an Indigenous Chicana trans woman. She believes creating stories is a critical part of making change. They can give us strength, model paths to success, provide encouragement, and create greater empathy. She's dedicated to community support and fighting for positive change at a local level. Tobi's work has been in Best Lesbian Erotica, Ask, Building Consent Culture, Trans Bodies, Trans Selves, Take Me There, Beyond Binary, Coming Out Like a Porn Star, and Girl Sex 101. She's the editor of the Lambda Literary finalist anthology Nerve Endings, The New Trans Erotic, author of children's books A Princess of Great Daring and Superpower Baby Shower, and director of the award-winning erotic documentary series Doing It Online. There is a link to that in Tobi's bio that I know that Sinclair put up there. Tobi, please take us away.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, I'm Tobi, and I want to read to you a story that I that I wrote actually quite a few years ago, and had and got into one of the best lesbian erotic anthologies. So this story has anxiety, dissociation, characters being triggered, and thoughts of transphobia. And I'll just go ahead and dive right into it. This is titled Being Present. I finish the knots on her wrists and pull upwards so that her whole body is taut and she is forced to stand on her tiptoes. With her body stretched out, she takes a sharp intake of breath. I run my other hand down her side and she shivers. My hand hovers over her naked pussy and I put my mouth next to her ear and say, I want you to beg for it. I'm going to take a quick drink of water to clear my throat a bit. I want you to beg for it. She pauses and doesn't say anything immediately. A flash of worry creeps into my mind. I'm trying to use this as a check-in. The last thing I want is for her to feel an obligation to beg for something she doesn't want. The breathing and shiver could be a sign of desire or a sign of panic. When she doesn't answer for a few more seconds, I decide to make it explicit. I mean, if this is what you want, I add. We could always do something else or take a break. No. As she says it, my worry spikes, but then she continues. Keep going. I want, please. She's taking very slowly and talking with great effort. Her body has been writhing, but she stops to try to gather her words. I want you to, please touch my cunt. Suddenly, I'm remembering a time years ago when I hooked up with this guy I dated for 6 months. I thought he was so cool because his last girlfriend was trans and he had helped her through her transition. He knew all about hormones and could even give me advice on things now and then, like what doctor to go to. I looked up to him. His name was Dave. Dave and I had been making out, and he was groping me over my clothes. I reached over and ran my hand up his leg, then stopped. Can I touch you? He gave me an odd look, like I said something wrong, and then laughed. Okay, yeah. The memories blur together between a handful of times we fucked. I always was very explicit about consent, but he thought I was being silly. You know, you don't have to check in all the time, he said. It kind of ruins the moment. It's okay to just do something. You can trust me that if I don't like it, I'll let you know, and it won't be a big deal. I had grown up with a lot of messages about consent. It was hard for me to do anything without explicitly knowing it was wanted, but he didn't want to do things that way. He was never upset or mad, but treated it like I was naive, still learning, and too anxious about getting things wrong to just let them go right. At the time, I trusted him more than my own instincts. I took his advice to heart, but it was still very hard for me to do. Please, touch me more. I want to feel your hand on my clit. Oh, I hadn't intended to hold out on her for so long. The first couple pleases would have been fine, but I got caught up in my head. I've been doing that kind of thing as long as I can remember, but just in the past few years, I've finally realized that it's like a kind of dissociation. I pull myself back into the present and pull her to me. I kiss the back of her neck. At the same time, I press the flat of my palm into her. She lets out a gasp of pleasure, then sighs. Sorry. Sometimes when I get really into things, I go a bit nonverbal, and it takes a minute for me to pull myself out. I start moving my hand slowly, warming her up. Does that pull you out of the moment, too? Well, it's almost like a trance, like I'm deep in the sensations of my body. Refocusing my brain on language means less focus on those sensations, but it's not necessary. But it is necessary if I need to communicate. She looks me in the eye and smiles, and the relaxed pleasure in her eyes melts away my tension. That smile and the way she expresses pure joy is a big part of why I fell for her. I find myself hypnotized in her pleasure and just want to give her more of it. I want you on your hands and knees, I say as I shove her forward onto the bed. With her wrists bound, she catches herself with her elbows. Almost instantly, her heavy breathing returns as she scrambles up into position. I'm leaning over her with my hand still reaching around to her front. I press my hips into her and growl into her ear as my fingers find and stroke her clit. You're so wet for me, aren't you? She nods her head up and down. I'm starting to get hard, and I remember an earlier time when she said one of her favorite positions is getting fucked from behind. I savor the possibility. Maybe we can work our way towards that. I let go of her and sit back behind her. I press her knees apart, and as they spread, her labia opens up. My hand returns to her cunt, reaching through between her legs this time. My other hand strokes the back of her thigh, lingering on the crease just beneath her ass. Can you nod for me when you're nonverbal? She nods and moans out, mm-hmm. Nod for me if you'd like me to spank you. She nods vigorously. I can't believe I'm still thinking about Dave after all these years. He was so wrong. Checking in can be really hot. You just need to be able to frame it as an expression of desire rather than an expression of anxiety. That's what I was trying to do when I asked her to beg me for it. I was giving her a chance to tell me how much she wanted it, what it was she wanted, how much she needed to be fucked. That kind of thing can be like rocket fuel for a scene. That's what is happening now as I watch her enthusiastically nod and press her ass back into my hand. She is begging me for it, just like I asked her to. I give her a few light smacks, my left hand still wrapped around her clit. She gasps lightly at each impact. I pause a moment to stroke her tender skin, already starting to redden slightly. Even when Dave had been telling me not to check in so much, ultimately the lesson he taught me was how important checking in can be. Toward the end of our relationship, he confided in me a secret desire he said he had never told anyone else about before. He liked the idea of being a sissy. He even showed me some of the porn images and captions he got off to. They were all about being a cum-hungry slut, just an open mouth and open ass for other people's pleasure. I know it's not like framed in the most transpositive terms, he warned me as I perused futa and trap hentai, but it gets me really, really hot. Do you think you might be a girl or something? No, no, I'm definitely a guy. I just like the idea of being a sissy faggot hole to be used by whoever. Men, women with strap-ons, trans women. A week later, we were driving around town. He told me he'd been playing with his ass when he masturbates. Is that something you'd like to try together? He sheepishly said, maybe, and then looked away. A moment later, he changed the subject. We agreed to explore the sissy thing on our next date. He wore panties as we went out to dinner. At one point, I called him a good boy, and he flushed. I wanted so badly to give him this fantasy. When we got back to his place, there was a moment when I wanted to check in with him. In hindsight, I wish I had. But I was trying to give him what he wanted. He had been hinting all week. This was what he told me he wanted. So I didn't take him out of the moment. I grabbed his waist and I tried to growl, but it came out more like a whisper. I'm gonna take your ass now. He said, okay, and moved into position. I believed him. I often wonder if his answer would have been different if I asked a direct question. If he would have been upset with me, or if he would have said the exact same thing. But the next day, he told me things hadn't been okay. He froze up. He endured it because he thought he was supposed to. It wasn't good. And then he dumped me. Secret fantasies are like a spark of fire. Uncover them and give them enough fuel, and the heat can create mind-blowing sex. Expose them to the wrong element, though, and you're going to get burned. Her ass is pink, and I can feel her shiver when I let my fingers graze over her skin. I fall into a rhythm with several lighter impacts punctuated by a more significant one. Strong enough that she jumps forward slightly, causing her to rub herself up against my other hand. I'm trying to keep 2 parts pleasure to each part pain, and it helps that at this point she should be riding the endorphins well enough that this won't be nearly as intense. I pause from the spanking to give her a break and use the opportunity to place a finger over her opening. It lingers there for a while, just giving her time to think of the possibility. She starts nodding before I even ask her anything. Somebody is hungry for more. I press into her and give her a moment to adjust before resuming the spanking. I'm going lighter now, but still enough to cause her to jump forward. Only this time there is no break in between. I increase my tempo, and now she's fucking herself on my hand. She's moaning and yelling like some kind of wild creature, delight in her animal senses. Do you want me to fuck you? She nods. I reach over for a condom and slide it on. Show me, I say. Show me how much you want it. She reaches a hand back to grab my thigh and pulls me closer. She presses herself into me and rolls her hips back so her cunt rubs against me. I can feel her heat and wetness through the condom. She turns her head back to make eye contact with me. I want you to take me. You can use my ass if you want. She puts her head down and raises her hips to me. A moment goes by. When I don't respond and don't start doing anything, she turns around again. I don't know what expression is on my face, but she notices something is wrong. I have to say something. But it's your body. What do you want me to do? I want to be used by you. Fuck me however you want. I sit back down. Now it is my turn to have difficulty with words. Is this her telling me that she wants anal? If I choose something else, will I be disappointing her? But we haven't done anal before. I don't know if I can do that without more discussion or at least more explicit desire coming from her. I keep thinking of Dave. It takes all I have to not shut down. I know he was the one who was hurt, but I was devastated to have hurt him. I'm pretty sensitive to the possibility of hurting someone or violating their consent. It's why I was checking in so much to begin with. But even beyond that, there's the stereotype of queer and trans people as predators. Trans women in particularly are constantly being accused of tricking straight men and lesbians into sex, and behavior that could potentially be called male aggression calls into question your whole womanhood. This stuff is pretty fresh too. It was just last week when we went to the lesbian night at the gay bar, and some TERF saw us together and pulled her aside to warn her that I'm trans. Even if I'm 99% sure she wants this, my brain gets stuck on the 1% chance she doesn't. What if I do something that justifies that kind of a warning? What if she tells everyone I tied her up and fucked her ass when she didn't want to? Trans women don't get excuses or second chances when something like that happens. It's as if it justifies all the bigotry slung my direction over the years and proves right all the bigots who said I'm not really a woman. She's hugging me. Somehow, she got out of the ropes. I don't think I undid them. But they were loose enough she could have gotten herself out. She's sitting next to me and wiping away the tears I didn't realize I had. She gingerly kisses my upper cheek. Take your time, she says. You can tell me when you're ready. Or not, if you'd prefer. Thanks. I got caught up in some bad thoughts. I reach for her hand and place it on my chest. But your touch is helping me feel grounded. She presses into my chest and moves me into a position lying back with my head in her lap. The weight of her hand is comforting. Her other hand is stroking my hair. I feel safe. I feel warm. I've been doing activism in the community for well over a decade now. I've had my share of run-ins with TERFs and online trolls. I've protested, I've debated. I can hold my own. But still, running into one of them in person at a place I went to so we could relax and have fun, I froze. That bigot intentionally gave that warning in my earshot. The goal was to antagonize and get a rise out of me. It's a standard tactic they have to antagonize, belittle, yell, and push all the dysphoria and trauma buttons they know trans women tend to have. If they can get me to raise my voice or yell back, then they could say how all trans women are aggressive and violent and claim to be the victim of my harassment. Maybe even appeal to the bar bouncer to have me kicked out. I didn't want to just sit there and take the verbal abuse, but I didn't have a good option. So I froze. It's a little stressful sometimes, I say, being in charge, being responsible for things. She nods. listening intently and encouraging me to go on. I know you were just saying you were up for anal, but was that your preference? Is that the main thing you wanted at the moment? Is that what you want right now? I am open to either option. I do really like anal. One of my favorite things is to have something in my ass and a vibe on my clit. She strokes my chin and pulls my eyes up to meet hers. I guess I didn't ask how you felt about it. I mean, if it's bringing up issues for you, we don't have to do it. No, that's not it. I feel kind of bad. Things were going so well and were so hot, and now I'm crying in her arms. This is not how I pictured our evening. Sorry, I'm not exactly dominant right now. I guess I just started worrying about something you didn't want. I knew you probably wanted it, but the consequences can be so high for doing something wrong. Sometimes I freeze up. She smiles down at me and takes my hands. I think I have an idea that might solve that. Then I feel the rope sliding around my wrists. Oh, she is something incredible. I wish I didn't have to break down. I wish there weren't TERFs in our community, or that I could handle them myself. I wish she didn't have to come and save me again and again, but I'm so grateful that she does. As a cis woman in that lesbian bar night, she would never be accused of being a man for yelling. So she yelled on my behalf when I couldn't. She proclaimed that there's no room for transphobia there. I especially liked the moment when she said, I'd only feel deceived into sex if it was with someone who, like you, who hid how bigoted they were. That's when the bigot accused her of not being a real lesbian if she was willing to date someone like me, and she responded, well, fuck you, I'm not a lesbian, I'm pansexual. And I couldn't help but cringe. I mean, I know she's not a lesbian. I know that kind of erasure can suck, but I also don't like the suggestion that someone would have to be pansexual to date someone like me. The truth is, I don't know many people our generation who call themselves lesbians. So many people who might otherwise have had non-binary partners, or are non-binary, or are fine acknowledging that rare guy they are kinda into, or maybe they're scared off of using that word because of all the people like this TERF who insist it's an inherently transphobic identity. I'm not sure anyone I've ever dated or hooked up with has identified as a lesbian. At my most vulnerable, I sometimes worry there's an element of truth in what that woman was saying. Does someone have to be open to more than just women to be open to someone like me? And what's that say about how they say me? I'm lying on my back, and my hands are bound tight to the bed's legs behind me. She actually seems more experienced at this than me. I'm not sure I could get out if I wanted to. Remember, you can safe word anytime you need to stop or pause. I nod. Where are you now? Red, yellow, or green? Green. That's my good girl. And just to be clear, you're open to fucking my ass? Oh, yeah, if I know that's the thing you want, that sounds really hot to me. What about me playing with yours? I stop and think for a moment, doing a quick check-in with my body. That would be fun, especially with me all tied up like this. She gets up from me for just a moment. Rummaging through her purse, she comes back with a bottle of lube and a butt plug. She warms the lube in her hands and runs a slick finger around my asshole, the soft touch relaxing my muscles and giving me a chance to open up. Her mouth moves to my junk. I'm soft now, and she then gently takes me into her mouth, running her tongue over the head. Everything is super sensitive, and when she uses her hand to pull back the foreskin, it's almost overwhelming. She keeps a nice and slow pace until I start to get hard again, then begins to speed up. I feel the firm pressure of the plug pushing up against me. I gasp as it goes inside. That's right. Your ass is mine now. It settles into a stable position, pointing it upward. She presses on the base of the plug and works it to slightly rub back and forth over my prostate. Then her hips take over, thrusting into the plug in my ass and getting the same effect. Fuck, she growls. I love how you whimper so deliciously. And with each thrust, I feel her getting deeper and deeper. I just want to surrender to her desires, let her do whatever she wants with me, because everything she's wanting is doing amazing things for me. The first time I saw her, she was speaking at Dyke March. There's always 8 to 10 speakers at the rally before the march itself. She was the one speaking right before me. She told a captivating personal story about her experience as an immigrant, without familial support and not having access to legal work. She found opportunity in the underground economies of sex work, eventually being hired by a sex worker advocacy organization when legal work became an option. She seamlessly weaved her personal experience with calls for solidarity, with the need for policy change and the need for community action. By the time she was reaching the end of her speech, each sentence she spoke ended with a strong punch that led the crowd into a cheer. She called out the tendency for people to only help others when it was more comfortable and implored everyone to take more risks when it means sparing others from risks they don't have a choice about. It hit home. Some people cheered louder, others were quieter. I began thinking about what I needed to be doing differently in my own work, and I'm sure others were contemplating the same thing. I usually spend the last 5 minutes before I speak meticulously going over my things and mumbling my speech over and over. This time, however, I was so engrossed in what she was saying, that never happened. Suddenly, the MC was calling me to the stage, and I couldn't remember how I planned to start things. I told the crowd to give her another round of applause and used the time to glance at my notes. Still, I kept having moments where I stumbled, had large gaps of silence. I straight up read from my paper for the last several paragraphs. I thought I totally flubbed it. But when I came down from the stage, she approached me and said that she really appreciated what I had to say. I enthusiastically told her everything I appreciated about what she said. We marched together holding hands for much of the way. Halfway through, she took off her top, then I did too. By the end, we were making out on the street. It's hard to believe sometimes that things are going so well. It's like she's reaching into my brain, going past all my hangups, releasing pure and uncomplicated pleasure and lust. Oh, I am so ready for her when she straddles me. I can't wait any longer, she growls. I want to feel you in me. As she lowers herself onto me, she spreads her butt cheeks. I can feel her ass gripping me tightly. On most days, it would be difficult to get hard enough for penetration, especially for anal. But that's not a problem tonight. She's holding her breath until I'm all the way in, and then lets out a deep sigh. I want you to know, I'm glad you shared what was going on. She starts pulling back up slowly, then lowers herself again. Because I really wanted this, and I'm glad we found a way to make it happen. I've been holding back so I could let her set the pace and take things slow, but everything is so intense I can't hold back anymore. Instinctively, I try to reach up to hold her, but my arms are still tied. As I crash back into the bed, I thrust up into her. Yes, that's right, she says. Keep fucking me just like that. I want to feel how much you want this. Each time I thrust upward, I feel the plug inside me shift in a very delightful way, almost as if she's fucking me right back. Yes, I moan out loudly, then again quieter, then again until I'm keeping up a low mantra repeating the word. She picks up a small vibrator she had on the bed next to her and puts it on her clit. I can feel her clenching and spasming. It's getting me close to coming. I want to be here for her as long as she needs me, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold off. Luckily, I can tell from her own pleasurable sounds that she's getting close too. She starts to tense up and holds her breath as she reaches behind her and pushes a button on the bottom of the butt plug. Suddenly, it's vibrating right into my prostate. I'm involuntarily moving now, faster, and she starts screaming and coming. I keep going at full speed, desperate to come with her. It's not hard to. As she tenses, the plug goes flying out of me. We fuck a couple dozen more thrusts until we both collapse into a writhing, quivering mess. Thanks for being so open with me tonight. A lot of people wouldn't have the self-awareness to be able to name it, and it means a lot to me that you trust me to share that. She snuggles up to my arm. Sometimes I wonder what I did to have someone as wonderful as you in my life. Tears well up in my eyes. That doesn't make sense. She's the one who's so incredible on every level. How can she think that of me? But I'm such a mess, I exclaim. I don't even know if I deserve you. She rolls on top of me and kisses me deeply. You're a beautiful mess, she says, and you know yourself well enough to pick up all the pieces. You're one of the most kind and caring people I know. Don't you ever forget how wonderful you are. She unties my arms and pulls me into a spooning position. The cleanup can wait until the morning. For the first time in a long time, I don't have the slightest bit of anxiety that anything is going to fall apart as I drift off to sleep, content, full of pleasure, and feeling loved.
Oh my God, Toby. What a journey. Ah.
Can we can we unmute and applause for that?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah.
unmute.
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. There were
Aw, thanks.
there were so many tears in the chat. Like this hit everyone's place of vulnerability, the care in it, we hated Dave, we felt sorry for Dave. We were like, Dave just didn't know, but oh my gosh. This was so beautiful and healing, and activism is so fucking hot, and I love how you wrote so wonderfully about uh like neurospiciness and the the dissociation and being able to communicate through that and have holding space to be able to reach your partner in that. And anyways, it was gorgeous. It was so beautiful, and I loved it. Um, so you said this story was from a couple of years ago. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember how many years ago. Maybe you remember, Sinclair. What edition was that?
It's in volume 6, which might have been
Oh, that's
2020.
the same as mine.
Oh,
Hmm.
share, you're in the same covers together.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Wow, that's the hottest. I'm sorry, that's the hottest. Amazing. Um,
Mhm.
ugh. So what made you want to share that one tonight with us?
Yeah, I have a new one that I've been polishing up for a while, but it's
Hmm.
also like the one that I've been reading every time I get a chance to.
Yep.
And so I wanted to do something different. And I wanted to do something with a bit of heartthrobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this is one of the ones that I'm really proud of. And I think it kind of was like a turning point in my writing for me. Um, that like around the time I was writing that one, um, yeah, things shifted to another level, and I
Mhm.
think like getting into the emotional depth and the neurospiciness and the vulnerability, the like getting triggered in the middle of sex and not being able to dom anymore. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
just a lot of really I feel it's important to like
Mhm.
have those kinds of difficult things
Mhm.
in our erotica. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that like you see that kind of stuff more and more these days, but there's still kind of this like a lot of people think of erotica as this surface level, like it's the hottest thing ever. She had the hottest body. It was the biggest orgasm ever. And just like everything is the best. And there's no room for worry or trauma or anxiety or anything that like, might be a turn off for the reader. But I feel like this was a moment where I really demonstrated to myself and to a lot of other people that like having those pieces like make you so much more connected to the characters, and it can
Yeah.
like really turn up the heat in a
Yeah.
really powerful way when it feels like real people with real struggles and
Mhm.
not just this like candy coated sparkliness.
Right. Right. Like you can only have really great sex if you're neurotypical with a perfect body and are having the best day. Because who's that? I don't know that person. I don't know them. They're not hot. I'm not interested. Give me the complication because that's what brings connection too, right?
Yeah.
It's like being able to navigate through that stuff. When I did Sinclair's class, I wrote a similar story and am similarly
Mm.
really proud of myself for like hitting those levels of like it being really hot, but it also being about anxiety and dissociation
Mhm.
yeah, and it's if anyone's interested, it's on going to be on Theo Live, Theo Reads, and it was I think it'll be free, been free for a bit. It's called Demon Lover, and it's like, but yes, and so go back up the chat, or maybe Sinclair can put them back in again. Your website, which has stories as well as what was the other link? Oh, nerve endings as well. There's
Yeah.
the link for endings that you edited. Hot.
Yeah, so this is my anthology, and I really feel like this was my push to try and get get a lot of those more complex elements into erotica. And
Yeah.
so I kind of like gathered up a lot of other writers who are doing similar things, had some interesting complexity, a lot of healing, honestly.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
think that that's like a really big theme. And to talk about healing, you have to talk about hurt.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm working on a volume 2,
Great.
slowly chugging away at it. I can't give a timeline, but it's not going away until it's done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. So we know that. Be on the lookout for
Yeah.
maybe a call out. I don't know if you're asking people to submit
I,
or
I've I've got all the stories now.
okay.
I'm just editing them and doing all of that side of things.
All right. So volume 3, if a few years from now,
Yeah.
we'll be looking for volume 3. Excellent. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Toby. What a demonstration
Yeah.
of amazing skill, and really bringing it to that different level and showing us the power of that. And like seriously, the tears and the fire, all of it was gorgeous.
Mhm.
Um, thank you. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Snaps and claps for that. Um, I am going to read a little something now, and it actually comes perfectly after yours because it's a story called Consent is Sexy. Um, and I'm going to read the second half of it, which is the hot half. But, and I'll just tell you it, the beginning part. First of all, this is based on a true story. I was doing jury duty in a room full of strangers and overhearing this conversation of these older straight women talking about how hard the young people have it these days. They're gonna get her son is gonna be called for, sexually harassing someone just if he's asking someone out on a date, and it's impossible to do anything. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I'm like, no, actually, like consent is sexy and it's super easy and it's really fun. And they like most of them turned and were like, tell us more. And this one was like, I don't believe it. So the first part of the story is me telling about and it's in the voice of this woman who doesn't believe it. Um, Talking about this, like this, whatever they are, queer, I guess we call them. I'm calling her a she. And this kind of, yeah, this person. Um, so this part of the story happens um after jury duty that day. And it's this woman. It was late by the time I got home to the sleepy suburb of Oshawa that night. I walked in the door and found Ed sitting in his spot on the couch, watching the hockey game and drinking a beer, an open bag of Doritos nestled against his leg. "What's for dinner?" I jokingly asked, knowing he would never think to make a meal himself. He lifted the beer and chip bag in response, still staring at the screen. I spent most of the drive thinking about what that smartass had said, this one. She'd gone on and on, talking about how kids these days, especially the gay ones, she'd actually said the queer ones, which sounded insulting to me, but whatever, that they do what she said. They ask for permission for everything, touching, kissing, even just spending time together. My group of ladies ate it up. They kept peppering her with questions. But what about once you've started? Like once you're in bed with someone? Carol, the former clothing store manager, had asked. "That's the hottest part, Carol," she answered. "Can I touch you here? Does this feel good? Do you want me to keep going?" You ask each other and respond according to what you each like. This way you both, or however many of you there are, can have decent sex even the first time. However many there are, I thought, and scanned the circle for shocked faces, but they were all captivated. It sounded so stiff and contrived. I didn't believe for a second that it could feel anything but awkward. I decided to prove her wrong. "Hey, Ed, I would like to kiss you." I waited. "Huh?" he said after a moment, never taking his eyes off the game. I could hear in my head the way she'd sounded when she'd said it. I pitched my voice lower, like hers. "I would like to kiss you, Ed. Would you like that?" "What?" He looked at me this time, his beer bottle halfway to his mouth, confusion scrunching his overgrown eyebrows. "I don't think I heard you right, Shar. What did you say?" I'd give it one more chance to prove I was right. I couldn't wait to wipe the little smirk right off that smartass's face. I stared at the back of Ed's head as he returned his attention to the game. I walked up behind him and leaned down and put my lips at his ear. Deep and soft, I repeated, "I'd like to kiss you, Eddie. Would you like that?" This time he jumped and looked at me with wide eyes. "What the hell, Shar? You trying to give me a heart attack?" He kind of giggled and shook his head. "Come watch the game with me. The Leafs are up by a point." Aha! I knew it. There was no way that consent stuff would ever be seductive. But as I plopped down on the couch next to Ed and grabbed a handful of Doritos, I saw him looking at me briefly and grinning, a flush running up his neck, his ears bright red. Well, this is interesting, I thought. I guess I'll give it one more try. "I'd like to put my hand on your thigh, Eddie," I purred and looked at him. "What's up, Shar?" he said, confused but clearly intrigued and still smiling. "Would you like that?" I asked. "Oh, I get what you're doing." His smile widened. "Yeah, definitely. I would like your hand on my leg." I put my hand halfway between his knee and his hip and gave him a little squeeze. "Does that feel nice?" I asked. "Yeah, it does," he answered, and flicked his eyes toward me before returning them to the screen. We sat there for a few minutes like that, some old energy sparking between us. It felt nice, but I didn't want to push it. And then I did. "Would it feel nice if I moved my hand up a bit?" Uh, yeah, he said. "It would." I moved the Dorito bag to the floor with my left hand, while my right hand slowly traveled up his thigh. "Is here nice?" I asked. "Yes." he said, and I kept my hand moving. Here? Uh-huh, he grunted and shifted a bit. What if I put my hand right on your crotch? Would that be okay? If I just rested it there, gently? Oh my God, Char, he breathed. I hadn't moved my hand. Is that a yes? I asked. Yes. Oh my God, yes, he spluttered. I don't know what's gotten into you, but I like it. Thank you for telling me you like it, I said, as I slowly lowered my hand onto the bulge in his jeans. I want to do things you like. I could feel him getting hard under my warm hand. I hadn't touched him this way in years. The familiarity of it brought me back to early dates in parked cars. I became aware of a growing warmth between my own legs, a gentle and pleasant throbbing. As he grew stiffer, I began to stroke him through his jeans. Then I stopped. I'm sorry, I didn't ask if it was okay to do that. Would you like me to stop or continue? I asked. Go, he said. Green light? I asked. Yeah, he exhaled. Green light. His eyes were closed now, the hockey forgotten, his cock starting to tent his jeans. Is this getting uncomfortable? I asked. What? No, I really like this, Char. Don't stop, he stammered. Okay, I won't stop. Unless you would prefer to have your jeans off, I said. Oh, yes, off, off! And he scrambled to undo his belt and push his jeans and boxers to his knees. Now free, his cock stood straight up. I didn't know it could still do that. Filled with memories of years past and my own building desire, I asked, Can I take you in my mouth? Yes, holy fuck, yes, a blowjob? This is, yes! I leaned over, looked up into his amazed eyes, and wrapped my lips around the head of his cock while my tongue fluttered along the groove on top, a move I'd perfected years ago and had forgotten about until my tongue did it on its own. Ed gasped as I wrapped my hand around the base of his cock and began to suck him deeper into my mouth. I moved my lips and hand up and down the shaft and felt his hips start to move, thrusting gently in and out of my mouth. I pulled my head up and off him with a loud sucking pop and said, You like it like this? He moaned and nodded. I gathered spit and let it drip from my tongue onto his cock before I put my mouth back on him. He moaned again. I was now very wet and fully throbbing, and I had to make a decision. Or rather, I guess, I had to ask Ed to make a decision. I stopped again and pulled off him. Eddie, I'm so fucking wet and I want you inside me. But if you would rather I continue the blowjob, I will. I know it's been years since I gave you one. It took no time for him to decide. I want to fuck you, Char. My turn to struggle out of my pants and panties. Ed started to get up. I would like you to stay there, Ed. I want to climb on top of you, if that's okay. Ed's answer was to sit back down with a grin so wide it made me laugh. I climbed on his lap, facing him, my feet on either side of his hips. I was about to lower myself onto him when he said, Charlotte, I would really like to kiss you. Would you like that? And then he waited. I felt a wave of desire bigger than I'd felt in, well, maybe ever. Yes, Eddie. Kiss me, lover. And he did. The most passionate kiss we'd shared in forever. With our tongues filling each other's mouths, I sank onto him. I wanted him as deep as he could go. Fuck, he felt good. I began to raise and lower myself, then slowly, then faster, until I was riding him hard, scratching an itch in both of us that we'd been ignoring for too long. I felt the walls of my cunt gripping him, the delicious friction inside. We were both moaning. I was dripping onto his lap, the couch, I didn't care. Then I felt a sudden and urgent building inside me. I couldn't believe it. Oh my God, Eddie, I'm going to come and I'm going to squirt all over you. Oh, baby, he responded between gasps. Fuck, yes, I want that. Oh, I'm so close. God, fuck, yes, me too, so close. And I rode him faster as he pounded into me harder. Yes, Eddie, yes, lover. Oh, yes, Char. Oh, yes. We began to grunt together as we got closer and closer. Oh, fuck, I said. I'm gonna come, he said, inside me. I leaned down into his ear. Come inside me. Fuck, I'm coming. Oh God, sure. And with that, I exploded too, waves washing over me and waves pouring out of me. I squirted all over him. I heard my throaty cry, rasp and gutter as I pumped the last juice out of us both. I slumped onto his chest, the two of us shuddering as he collapsed into the couch. The next morning, I took my place in the jury pool with my circle of new friends. When the gay one walked in and sat down, I leaned over to her and whispered, "Last night, I did what you said. You were right." "I was? About what? What did I say?" I winked and said, "Consent is sexy." She just grinned at me. Smart ass. And there's my consent is sexy story. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was so much fun to write. And yes, so I read you the part that was all the fantasy that I made up about what had happened. But she did come back the next day and say that she had that she had done what I said and said that I was right. Consent was sexy. And I'm just like, damn. Like, we're in the jury pool. Yes. So as much as that's a straight story, it's actually a queer story for the queering of that that circle of straight ladies and the one who brought it home to her husband. Um, so thank you for listening to that. And that will indeed be on Theo Reads. So you can read the beginning part, which is, the buildup. Whew. Okay, thank you very much for that. I get to move on to our next reader, who is TJ, whose pronouns are they and them. TJ is a biracial brat with a knack for fusing the erotic with the wholesome. They invite viewers into their illustrations, playful vignettes, and comics that subvert the heaviness of purity culture and shame. You can find them and more of their work on Instagram at Aluminum Brat. TJ.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be sharing alongside so many amazing writers. I'm gonna be reading the comic I made during this most recent writing spicy. So let me share.
Amazing.
Thank you. Wow. Can you see it?
Yes. Great.
Can we hit the present button, maybe, if it wants to let me. Okay. I'd like to give a content warning for implied BDSM, bratting, and food. I'd also like to note that all characters I draw are 25 years of age and older. This comic is about two characters I draw often, KK and the Brat. KK is a tall, blonde, bearded transgender man wearing a green t-shirt and jeans, and the Brat is a short, non-binary brunette wearing purple pajamas and a crown. They're both consenting adults engaging in BDSM-related shenanigans. So without further ado, against a colorful background, several moody portraits of the Brat spin around KK's head. This comic is called Spin the Top by me, TJ, aka Aluminum Brat. KK opens a kitchen cupboard and is surprised to find it completely empty. He calls to the Brat in the other room. Where are all the coffee mugs? The Brat sits surrounded by every mug in the house, at least a week's worth of tea and coffee. Licking sugar off a spoon, they wink. Beats me, but let me know when you find them. Later, KK roots around in the refrigerator, but can't find what he's looking for. My slice of cake was right here. Immediately, he is suspicious. He finds the Brat sleeping peacefully on the sofa. What? He shouts as he sees a plate with the crumbly remnants of the cake nearby. Later, KK is putting away the laundry. Why are all of these so mismatched? he asks grumpily, holding several different kinds of socks and stockings. It's his biggest pet peeve. The brat looks up from their video game and answers, "You told me to pair the socks. You didn't say they had to match." In the background, KK boils with anger, foreshadowing an imminent, very deserved spanking. The end. How do I stop sharing?
Amazing. Amazing, TJ. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
What a great different thing to have in here. That was awesome. How long have you been writing comics?
Thank you.
Sexy ones.
Forever, but I've only been making like sexy comics kind of for a
Yeah.
couple of years. Thanks
Love
to
it.
Sinclair, who always encourages me. Bless.
Absolutely. That it's so cool to do that. And so I'm curious, do you always do comics? And which do you do first? You write your story and then you do your illustrations and then come back and refine some of what you like the language? I'm just so curious.
Kind of. I usually start like I get the titles first, and then
Yeah.
I start the art from that.
Oh,
So it's kind of back
yeah.
and forth.
That's great. That's
Right.
great. And was this one inspired by something in the class, or did you have the idea for it before and then work on it through class?
I was working on it through class very slowly, and
Yeah.
then pulled an all-nighter to finish. So we love it. We love it.
Listen, I don't know about you, but I always need a deadline.
Hell yeah. Nothing gets me
Neurospicy.
harder than a deadline.
Yeah, dopamine dump right at the last moment. I need that. I need that. Thank you so much, TJ.
Thank you.
That was awesome. And don't forget, check them out on Aluminum Brat at Aluminum Brat on Insta. Okay, Mr. Loving Words, you are up. Mr. Loving Words is a hopeful romantic born out of the depths of longing and tears of the forgotten dream. As a master of metaphor, he delights in performing the erotic oral listeners come for. He loves to submit spicy words between clean sheets that leave even the dirtiest minds hot, wet, and begging for more. Yes, please, Mr. Loving Words.
Hi, everyone. The reading has been so wonderful tonight, so thank you. The piece I'm reading is an excerpt out of a short story titled How to Worship, and content notes, goddess worship, denial, and footplay. When I exited the bathroom, she was lying on the bed in a white lace bra and panty set. She asked me if I liked her body. I told her it looked delicious. Everything about her was delicious, and I had been starving for too long. She asked, would you worship it if given the opportunity? Every day and twice on Sundays, I said. She said, good. Goddess deserves an eager servant, and told me to lose the towel and stroke myself for her. I was already semi-hard and began sliding my hand up and down my shaft. That's good. Keep stroking for me, she directed. Then she began touching her body, rubbing her hands over her soft stomach and thick thighs. I walked over to rub her legs also. Stop, she said. Did I give you permission to touch Goddess's body? No, I responded, eyes shyly cast down. Be good and just watch your Goddess for now and keep pumping that yummy dick for me. I should have been like, fuck this, I'm not playing your game. But I was too turned on with all the blood rushing to my other head. She spoke with authority, then gentleness, which created an intoxicating seesaw in me. When she slid one hand inside her panty, I groaned, wishing it could be my fingers. Do you want to touch me? Yes, I could barely mutter. Where? Everywhere, I responded, this time with excited conviction. What do you want to touch your goddess with? These hands? Then she used her foot to kick my stroking hand away from my dick. This cock? Then she started sliding her toes up the underside of my shaft. Kneel, she commanded. I did. Or this mouth, she said as she brought her toes a centimeter from my lips. Kiss. I damn near exploded right there. I obeyed, kissing each toe, forefoot, wrinkled arch and heel. Next, swapping in her other foot. I could see her hands between her legs, playing with herself. She hummed as I finished the second foot. You're a good foot worshiper. I wonder though, do you like me or do you just like feet? You may kiss my legs now just as diligently. When I took a nibble around her knee, she corrected me, reminding me that a kiss is not a nibble or lick, and that I must follow directions if I wish to be rewarded. I didn't dare kiss between her legs, opting to move to her stomach, but saw her wetness, felt the heat radiating through the lace. After kissing her stomach, she said, I'm glad you didn't get greedy and followed Goddess's rules. You may use your hands now. Then she removed her bra. Her breast was perfectly petite, large areolas and tiny nipples. I kissed and caressed them, appreciating their firm softness. I made my first request, Goddess, may I lick your nipples? Do you think you're worthy of licking Goddess's nipples? I felt like this was a trick question. If I said yes, she would see me as prideful, as if I was her equal. So I humbly responded, no, Goddess, I'm not. You're right. You're not worthy of having Goddess's nipples in your mouth, but maybe you could earn the privilege. How, Goddess? I want to know you're asking because you want to please me, not yourself. So if you agree not to come tonight, you may have my nipples in your mouth. Do you want to please your goddess or yourself? I wanted to suck on her nipples, but I also wanted to come desperately. This was another test with no good answer, but a right one. Yes, I want to please you, goddess. I won't come for you tonight. You're such a good worshiper. She leaned down, gave me a kiss on the lips, and said, lick doesn't mean suck. I nod and move back down to her chest, gently licking each nipple to sniff this, causing goosebumps to roll across her skin. After only 2 or so minutes, she grabbed my hair, pulled me away from her breast, and pushed me down between her legs. Take my panties off, she said. I do, revealing her glistening pink lips, trimmed brown bush, and already swollen clit. Worship that goddess pussy and don't stop till you reach heaven. That's it.
Don't stop till you reach heaven. Love it. Love it. Beautiful. Um, Tell me a bit about your process, Mr. Loving Words. How much have you written? Where does St. Clair's class come in your writing journey?
Um, Long time reader, long time writer,
Yeah.
but not of um, fiction, mostly of poetry.
Mm.
And so I started Sinclair class last year and to work more on the prose fiction stuff,
Hmm.
um, and been joining um, the writing sprints for about a year and really, opening up and developing my skills. And this particular piece, a friend of mine reached out and gave me a list of kinky topics and asked me if I could write something for their book. And so this was one of the pieces I wrote for them.
I love it. I want more. I want their next encounter. And the one after that, I want to get beyond. I mean, the licking's great, but we want more. We want more. So thank you so much. And yeah. Okay, thank you. We have
Thanks.
two more writers. We're going overtime a little bit because because these words, I mean, these words don't stop till you're done, right? Please. But, okay. Rose Knottyrotica is a Black kinky lesbian erotica writer. She's an academic by day and a kinky gardener, cat mom, and crafter by night. Her greatest hope is to make you come, and she believes that pleasure is the ultimate celebration of both Black and queer liberation. Like snaps to that. Rose, bring it.
Hi, I'm reading a piece called Submission. This is a piece that I started in our class this last session, and this story contains Black, non-binary, and femme sex, strap-on sex, dominance, and submission. Mixtricks lay on their back, legs spread wide, arms folded behind their head, looking down at me, waiting. Their gloves and a black leather vest were the only clothes they had on. Brown legs, long and lanky, seemed to stretch on for days, and I could see the soft mound of curly black hair where their thighs came together. I was invited to feast, so I started eagerly with my lips on the right thigh, wrapping my arms under their hips as I pulled them towards me. I rested my hands, palms up under their ass, grabbing thick handfuls of their flesh. My kisses inched higher and higher, first right thigh, then left thigh, then right thigh again. They were soft and warm as always. When I got to the top of their legs, I smelled the familiar scent of them, warm, earthy, inviting. I searched with my tongue, and I found plump lips. Mixtricks moved their hips closer to me and moaned with satisfaction. I parted those lips, shoveling with my nose, surprising myself with how moist my face became. I found their throbbing clit, which I lapped and rolled around on my tongue, and Mixtricks suddenly inhaled. We rocked together like that for a while, my face covered in their liquid offering as I lapped, sucked, and searched deeper and deeper, parting the seas with my tongue. They arched their back, lifting their chest to the ceiling as they grabbed the top of my head. Then they ran their fingers through my hair as they looked down at our bodies, rocking in unison. I took my hand out of Mixtricks and put my fingers in their mouth. They sucked the salty wetness off my hand and pulled me towards them. Mixtricks quickly rolled me over on my back while reaching for the strap on the nightstand. They slid it on and the brown cock stood plump and erect near my lips. I sucked it, getting it as wet as my own pussy. Then Mixtricks pulled me down to the foot of the bed. Holding the underside of my thighs and pushing my knees towards my chest, they spread me all the way open. I was beyond wet, just like Mixtricks liked it. And as Mixtricks teased me with the tip of the cock, I could feel waves of pleasure ripple all over me. Holding me firmly, Mixtricks slid the cock all the way in, filling me up and stretching my pussy more and more with each stroke. 10 more firm strokes. Then Mixtricks, now ravenous, turned me over on my knees and slid the cock in me doggy style, applying even more pressure to my pussy in all the right places. They pulled my hair, causing me to arch my back and my pussy to contract even more. Mixtricks loved this view of me, my large ass slapping against the harness, my tight pussy taking in every inch of their cock, just like a good girl should. Before I knew it, my body was tingling from deep inside, and the firm and steady rhythm of their hips led me almost to another dimension. Mixtricks traced their fingers across my sweaty back and then, with a wicked smile, gave my hair one more firm tug. Release. I arched my back and let out a deep, throaty moan as my pussy, wrapped tightly around their cock, pulsated and spasmed. Mixtricks pulled me back even further as they leaned over to kiss the side of my face. They held me there, curled back in that position for another moment until the spasms and quivering in my legs subsided. Release. Gently sliding out of me, they pulled me over to my side and rocked me into a big spoon, their still harnessed cock finding its place nestled firmly against the rolls of my lower back. Our thighs were wet and we were out of breath, but our bodies melded together into a warm and sticky mess. Did you come, baby? I asked as I leaned back into their embrace. I don't know why I even asked that. If you have to ask, the answer is usually no. No, baby, but I love seeing you come all over me. They part whispered, part giggled the words into my ear. I rolled over to face them and began sucking their lower lip. Eyes locked on theirs, I slid my hand under their vest, grabbing their perky nipple and rolling the little brown nubbin between my fingers. I gave it a playful little squeeze and took more pleasure than I expected in seeing them wince. And I felt another tingle between my legs as I heard them growl just a little bit. Want to play some more? I whispered with a slight twinkle in my eye. Yeah, what do you have in mind? They leaned in for another warm kiss. With a smile, I reached over into the nightstand where their bag of red jute was stashed away. Seeing the little black bag brought a special light to their eyes. A grin slowly crept across their face, and they put their hands together as if in prayer. I'm all yours, my lady. The fire was lit. I peeled their leather gloves off finger by finger and then slid the vest and harness off their lean frame. I laid out our special red blanket on the floor at the foot of the bed and made a motion for Mixtrix to stand at my feet in the center. Mixtrix complied, albeit with a smirk, since this was a bit of a departure from our usual play. Control, restraint, submission. Mixtrix was a master of all of these, carefully and lovingly reinforcing each of these elements in our daily dynamic, both in word and deed. They were a firm guide and a constant reassuring force, but sometimes it's nice to lose control. Sometimes it's nice to be firmly led. Sometimes it's nice to submit to someone who shines a light on you as bright and as lovingly as the moon does the earth.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, that was gorgeous. You said you wrote that all in Sinclair's class, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually never written any kind of erotica and read ever publicly before, so this is all new to me.
Oh, what a privilege we have to have your voice as a writer and then your voice actually reading to us. Thank you so much. How did you find the difference writing erotica compared to the academic writing that you've done? And I don't know if you've written other fiction or anything like that, but
Yeah,
um,
I've been writing fiction, like vanilla fiction, for like 20 years, but it has never flowed as much as this.
Mm.
This was something that's just so new for me, and I just really appreciate how the space that Sinclair has created has allowed us to like get in touch with this, because I don't know where this came from.
Ah, that's amazing. Is it?
But
It's
yeah.
yeah. Go speak.
No, but I'm happy it's here. That's all.
Yes. What an amazing thing to like to I mean, I don't know if you struggle with writing other kinds of things, but
Yeah.
to like find this place where it's like, this is what I was meant to do all along.
Right.
I
Yeah.
want to change my PhD. I want
Exactly.
I want to write something totally different. Oh, that's gorgeous. Thank you. And welcome to this community. Oh, amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing voice to have in here. Thank you so much, Rose.
Thank you. Thank you.
And here we're coming to our final reader, Lola Rosé. She, her, is a Black queer femme storyteller, sensualist, and rope bunny, which we may notice here. Lola Rosé wearing a little bit of rope. A rope bunny who is currently living and loving in the DMV. Lola writes about Black kink, Black love, and Black sensuality. She was previously published in the spring 2023 issue of Womanly magazine. In her spare time, she collects vinyl records, takes care of her plants, practices yoga, gags over fashion, and shares consensual cuddles with her friends and lovers. Love it. Great life. Lola Rosé, lay it on us.
Thank you, everyone. This is an excerpt from a story I wrote in Sinclair's class called Reunion. For content warnings, there will be knives, there will be impact play, and there will be spanking-induced orgasms. Sir Augustine ordered a bottle of Fiji water, a pack of gummy bears, and a bag of white cheddar Cheez-Its from the bar. He slid the snacks over to Briar and handed her the water bottle. He ordered an iced tea for himself, and they leaned against the bar to people watch. Hey, your little friend is coming tonight, Sir Augustine said with a slight grin. Who? Briar's eyes widened, praying he wouldn't say Damien's name. Just as the question fell from her lips, Briar spotted a female figure out of the corner of her eye, and Sir Augustine's eyes followed. Your friend, the one who lives in Philly? Michael? I had no idea she was back in DC. Briar looked in her direction. She wore black liquid leggings, a patent leather waist harness over her over a white ribbed tank top, and 4-inch stiletto booties. Her play bag, a peridot-colored duffel bag, was placed at her feet while she greeted a volunteer at the sign-up table. No, that can't be Michael, she said. But it was. A petite, medium brown skinned femme with long, honey brown locks that were now hanging well past her shoulders. The last time Briar first met her, they were co-workers at a shitty nonprofit, and her locks were barely out of the awkward growing out phase. Now the locks, and the woman herself, were both more mature. Well, damn, that is Michael. Told you, Sir Augustine said. Briar couldn't help but smile, and that is when Michael finally noticed Briar noticing her. Briar Rose! Girl, it's been a long time. Briar smiled a little bigger this time, remembering the warmth of the light rasp in Michael's voice. Yeah, too long. May I hug you? Of course. The two women embraced just long enough to find comfort in each other's touch. Not wanting to interfere with Black Girl time, Sir Augustine decided to make an exit. Well, let me start my monitor duties. It's good to see you in here again, Lioness. Briar, let me know if you want to get on my table later for some impact. I've got some time after my shift. The two women stood alone now, face to face for the first time in about 2 years. Outside of texting and sharing Instagram reels and memes every now and then, Briar hadn't shared space with Michael since she moved to Philly. She had underestimated how happy she would be to see her again. Briar was the first to break the comfortable silence. Lioness, a little on the nose for a Leo woman, but I like it, Briar said. Michael didn't have a scene name before she moved to Philly. It made her curious about how she got that name, beyond the reference to her sun sign. Michael smirked confidently. It's because of my claws. She showed Briar her long rose gold chrome stiletto nails, a change from the short natural manicure she used to wear when they were coworkers back in the day. Oh, Briar said, wanting to feel those nails across her skin. Is your dance card full tonight? Not particularly. I have a knife play scene around midnight, but I'd make time for you on my table either way. What did you have in mind? Briar could feel her frenzy creeping up. Bitch, what don't I have in mind? She thought to herself before deciding to chill. This was her first night on the scene in months. It was best that she pace herself. Well, first I want to find out how those nails feel across my back. They're beautiful. But also, if you've got your knives and a thuddy flogger or two, I'd like to feel those as well. It'd be my pleasure. What's a little knife play between friends? Briar followed Michael to an empty massage table to the left of the rigging area. She slowly removed her bra and garter belt, stripping down to only her thong. She sat on the right edge of the table facing Michael. Let's start with 3 deep breaths together on my count, Briar Rose. She lay on her stomach, still focusing on her breath, leaning into the soft touch of Michael's fingertips, the top of her nails barely grazing her skin. Michael slowly moved her hands from the top of Briar's neck down to the middle of her back, scraping her nails down her spine. Briar's body reacted to her touch, her toes curling slightly, a gasp leaving her lips when the feel of Michael's nails made her clit jump unexpectedly. Michael teased her body, poking all 5 of her nails into her butt cheeks, chuckling at the way her body jolted with each puncture. I love watching you squirm, Michael said, invoking a soft giggle from her lips. She ran her nails across the backside of her body with a bit more pressure, running them down that spot on the back of her on her back a few more times just to hear her pretty little moans again. Good girl, Michael whispered in Briar's ear. She exhaled, letting those 2 words drip all over her like honey. It had been so long since she heard them. Michael reached into her bag for her favorite blade, the one with the hilt the same gleaming rose gold as her nails. Briar sighed as the knife made contact with her ass, basking in its exquisite plane. What color are we at, Briar Rose? Michael purred. She caught her breath with enough time to respond. Green, Lioness. She gasped again when Michael ran her blade down the right side of her back, while running her stiletto nails down the left side, and again when she replaced the blade with her suede flogger. Michael struck her backside, noticing the sting of it hitting her ass, marveling at its natural jiggle. Briar sunk even deeper into the surrender as if she could levitate inches off the table, her body cooled off by the wind at her back between each swing, then warmed up by the flogger hitting her skin. Michael then spanked Briar with her bare hand, hitting that spot on the underside of her ass cheeks. The vibration sent her into overdrive, her clit responding to the sensation with an unexpected but very welcome orgasm. As Briar came down, a tear rolled down her cheek. Michael stroked her back and lightly massaged her shoulders. She gently guided her back to an upright position and brought her into her arms for a hug. How do you feel, Briar Rose? Much better, Lioness. That's it.
I think we all feel much better now after hearing that. Really beautiful. I love it. A orgasm-induced tear, and a hug at the end. Beautiful. Pair that with the steak and the ice cream, and I think, yeah, that's my ideal night. Amazing, Lola. So let's hear your experience of writing with Sinclair, pre-Sinclair, and now that you have this community that you get to play in.
Sure. So I actually started writing erotica or like spicy romance really in 2019. Um, Mostly because I had just read The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory, and I'm like, there's no sex in this. Nobody's hunching. I'm not buying none of this. The characters are annoying probably because they ain't fucking. So I decided that I'm like, well, if she can do it, then so can I.
Yeah.
So I've only written a couple other stories. I have a Black Panther erotica fiction or fan fiction out there. Well, it's in my Google Docs, it's not anywhere else. And then I wrote another like quarantine themed short story. So I've always been interested in fiction, and I am currently attempting to write it's a BDSM flavored queer romance. And so this is kind of there's a lot more to this story, and I thought this class would be a good jumping off point.
Perfect. Yeah.
So
amazing. Sinclair, look what you've done. Again. It is you. You made the space. We want to hear you. Come off mute.
I can't talk. I've been crying,
okay.
and I'm like feels all I'm in my heart, and I like it, and I don't know what to say, but I feel I need to go wash my face and like come down. It's incredible. Everybody did such beautiful pieces. Thank you for like choosing excerpts. Some of those I'd never heard before. Some of them I've read a dozen times, like Tobi's piece, because it was in the book that I edited. And
yes,
but it has been a few years and I've never heard it out loud. It's so beautiful. I'm just, yeah, I'm blown away. I'm so blown away. I'm so glad we have this recorded, and thanks to everybody for coming and listening too.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to, friends, lovers, supporters that have been listening. Thank you to, all the writers. I'm assuming that there are probably some past writers from classes in the room as well, because the community is a community. Like, you can continue to get support, read, write with each other. It's really wonderful. And that is what you created, Sinclair, is the space for this. And the space for people to be vulnerable and feel okay about writing erotica for the first time, reading it for the first time, or maybe, doing some polishing of stuff they've been doing, getting some new ideas. All of it is amazing. And so I thank everyone so much thank you for asking me to host, because what a treat. Thank you again to Theo for supporting this reading this evening, and of course to Sinclair for your ongoing support of the spicy writing community. You're muted again.
It's so my pleasure. Parneet, do you want to say a thing?
Honestly, all I want to say is thank you to everyone, and thank you, Titus and Sinclair. I adore you. You already know that. You're amazing. All of you are amazing. Thank you. And I am not going to do a hard sell on Theo. Just look us up. It's all good. I love you all.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Titus, for emceeing. Thank you, everybody, for coming. For all the readers, I'm saving the chat so you don't have to cut and paste it. I will have it for you, and we'll have a recording as soon as we can. Thanks so much for being here, y'all. Have a good Sunday.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.